Now, if you are stuck with just a chicken for Christmas, I'm going to give you a really good recipe or recipe option you can do. We're going to be using a classic technique from this man here, Auguste Escoffier. Never disappoints, okay? When you see that name, usually always really good. So what we're going to do, chicken is going to be filled or stuffed with morel mushroom. These are the best thing after truffle and they cost a fraction of the price, okay? We're not going to roast the chicken, we're going to pot roast it, cooking it into this, a cast iron pot in a very specific method, and that's going to keep the flesh of the chicken juicy, moist, and tender. When it's going to be cooked, we're going to continue and make a sauce using, again, the morels plus champagne plus some homemade brown chicken stock we're going to reduce and tweak with some cream to have a nice sauce. As a bonus, I'm also going to make what's called, in the modern world, the chicken rice. It used to be called the fatty rice back in the days, which is a rice cooked in a homemade white chicken stock, so that you're going to have a whole panoply of things to serve. And trust me, when you do Escoffier style, it's going to be tasty. Let's go. The most important, of course, is this. These are the morel mushrooms. So let me unpack these beauties on here, and we're going to just spread them around so you can have a look. Now, these things that you can see here, for me, they are the best kind of mushrooms, like when you think truffle, when you think expensive stuff, and something that really has a particular taste and flavor and things, nothing beats. Especially the dry ones, there is that, it's smoky, it's woody, it's got such a very peculiar type of flavor, and they have the power, like little trees, they have the power to really infuse all kinds of ingredient, being meats like this, chicken, you know, beef, whatever you use, and even in the sauce. So we're going to be using them to infuse some flavor into the chicken and then take them out and use them to infuse flavor into the sauce. They are that powerful. Now, are you ready to start that super duper recipe, the pot roasted chicken filled with morel served with a champagne sauce, Escoffier style? My God, everybody must be trembling. But in fact, if you're organized, it is not that difficult. The first step is to have all your mise en place ready, meaning cutting your ingredients, measuring everything. You're going to find everything in the video description. Don't worry, you're going to need some brown chicken stock, a white chicken stock. I've made these myself. You can buy something off the shelf. It's fine. For the process, what we're going to be doing first before we cook the chicken is to rehydrate the morel, pan fry them in a little bit of butter, put them into the chicken. Step one. Then after, we're going to make a sauce base, okay, using the stock. The sauce base is what you want to have when you're going to be ready to make your sauce. You can make it in advance, which is great. You don't have to stress. And when comes the time to make the sauce, all what you need to do is pour the wine, pour the sauce, pour the mushrooms, a bit of cream, and you're finished, okay? So the sauce base, if you don't know what it is, called a jus. It's a brown stock that's going to be bonified with further taste. We're going to brown some carcasses, add some vegetables, a dash of champagne, and thicken the sauce with a bit of flour. This is all it is. And this is what we are going to do now. But first, let's start with these mushrooms. So let's begin. First step, the morel, 40 grams. I kept half for Christmas, because I'm going to make another sauce. Boiling water, and you just about cover the thing in there. We're going to leave this for 30 to 40 minutes. Now, I am sure I've scared you with that explanation with the sauce base. My God, what is this? It's restaurant quality, watch out. But in fact, it's just what? Look, just carcasses. And we're going to throw a bit of stock in there. So what we do, we're going to spend 10 minutes browning these things. I usually start on a, let's say medium-high heat, and leave the heat to rise kind of slowly. Like this, it doesn't stick at the bottom, which is great. So no salt, no pepper, 1 tablespoon of oil, that's about it. We're just browning the meat here, nice brown color. Now, one thing that you may want to know is that when you have a sauce that is entitled, for instance, like here, champagne sauce, this is called appellation, then it implies that anything you do within the recipe has to use not wine, but whatever spirit or alcohol you use. So here, because we said champagne, we're going to have to use champagne throughout. The sauce base is going to have a deglazing of wine usually, but in this case, we're going to use champagne. And it's a perfect time to open it because the chicken is doing its things and I just can't wait. So I'm going to try to open that thing. And following a new rule, I don't know if you know about it, when you open a champagne, you actually hold the cork and twist the bottle instead of the cork, because otherwise you're gonna break your cork there. So woo! And I'm gonna have a go at that thing. Ooh, not bad. That's well balanced. It's got a nice tone to it, and there's no fault, it's not bitter or anything like this. And it's not too acidic. Sometimes it can be acidic, and it's also not too sweet, but there is, I detect a little bit of sweetness in there. It's going to work well. Let me have some more. So here we are. The chicken is browned enough. So you see this coloring here? This is going to give us these nice roasty flavors that you want to find again in the sauce. So I've reduced my heat. I'm just going to take the carcass out for a bit. Okay, and I'm going to add the vegetable garnish. It's really nothing special, so all of it there, up. And we're just going to leave this for a few minutes on a medium heat or low heat. Now you can add oil, but for me a piece of fresh butter is always the way to go. So as you can see, there's nothing complicated. That's been 1 or 2 minutes. It starts to smell really good with the onions, the carrot, and now of course we're going to do, boom, a nice glazing of champagne, of course. Lovely. And leave this to reduce heavily, you know, we just want a few tablespoons of it, we don't want it to be too acidic. Perfect. So while it's been reducing, I've been scraping the bottom of the pan, I've captured all the juices, and I'm reducing this to a maximum until it becomes syrupy to avoid any type of acidity in there. If your sauce is acidic, you have not reduced your wine enough. So I'm putting my chicken back, my chicken carcasses, mix them around a little bit. And what we're going to do here for the thickening is to add some flour. So usually about a tablespoon for that amount is enough, even a bit less. And then you gently mix everything together. I'm good here, or what I'm going to do here is to add my stock. I've boiled my stock to sanitize it. And I'm going to put this in there. Now the sauce base is boiling, so I'm going to now add some salt and pepper because we are starting to make the sauce. Okay, so we can now afford to have some seasoning, and I'm going to use some of these Morel juices. You don't have to, but you can. A bit in there, always good. We don't waste anything. I'm going to leave this to cook for 15-20 minutes. So the sauce base is simmering on low heat, 15 minutes. We can take care of the mushroom. What to be careful of here with the Morels, they have lots of cavities and they're hollow inside. You need to rinse every single one of them under running water, making sure you remove any grit, any sand, plus on the inside, pressing them down like this. Otherwise, it's going to ruin your sauce. You're going to bite into the mushroom, that's delicious, and suddenly you have some kind of grit effect, you know, like. And now for the Morels, about 20-30 grams of butter. I've got a bit of shallot in here. You can add a bit of garlic if you want, and we're going to start by cooking the shallots for 2 or 3 minutes, medium heat. Okay, that's enough. I should have maybe used more Morels in there. Season with a bit of pepper. Now I like to add some seasoning in there, and quite a lot of pepper, because it's a nice recipe with mushrooms and of course some salt. And I've raised the heat as well here. I'm going to try to release the flavor of these mushrooms. Christmas time. So that's enough, just a few minutes, because remember, this is going to go into the chicken. I always like to add a little parsley. I don't add garlic because that's going to go into the sauce. I don't want to end up with a garlic sauce, okay? So the heat is now off, and my mushrooms and my sauce base are now ready. We can do the chicken. So once you're done with the sauce base and the Morels, take a break, clean the kitchen, reset everything, and then we can move on to, of course, the chicken. So all what it is, wash your hand first. We need to use that cavity here, and one like you know, this is a chicken, it's already trussed. And we're gonna just basically take the Morels and fill the entire chicken with this. And once you're done, you need to close that gap here. Usually if you have that sewing needle with that special butcher string and stuff, which I don't have the equipment, so I'm gonna use that piece of skin here, and I think I'm gonna be a bit barbaric here and just plant some kind of skewer in there. Next, the seasoning. It's good to season actually on the chopping board, and a good amount of salt and pepper all over. So you can turn it around, you know what I mean? And we're not gonna grease this with oil or butter because I'll show you what's happening afterwards, Escoffier style. Now, clarified butter is the reason why we're not greasing the chicken. Escoffier in his pot roasting recipe always uses clarified butter, which is the same as ghee. Ghee is different in the way that the milk solid have been burned and the clarified butter has got a nutty flavor. You can use ghee if you want, not a problem. I've made my own clarified butter and I've got plenty of it. I've melted 200 grams of butter and we're gonna need plenty of it. Now let's talk about pot roasting. Pot roasting starts with the chicken. It's been stuffed, we're going to be cooked with clarified butter. It's going to be cooked in that pot in the oven, so preheat your oven at 190 degrees Celsius, around that. And it's going to be first colored on all sides in the pot. And then we're going to place it on a bed of onion, celery and carrots. This is called a matignon in this case because the carrot is called, it's sliced differently, but usually it's called a mirepoix. The technicality doesn't matter. All what you need is that mixture of 100 grams of onion, carrots and 50 grams of celery, and that's it. So as you can see, it's actually not super complicated. So step one, we're gonna color the chicken in the pot. The coloring of the chicken goes, you can do medium, high heat. We're using here some of the clarified butter. You can start with 2 or 3 tablespoons, and don't worry, we're gonna use plenty of butter. That's the Escoffier style. So when the butter is hot, we're gonna start to put the chicken in. Okay, so sorry about that. I'm gonna use my hand first and start the coloring. So I've started to color the bottom or the back of the chicken here. The coloring is up to you. You can go further than that. The recipe says you should not do it too much, but I'm going to put it on the side, the other side, and then the other side. So all of the sides needs to be slightly colored like this, so we're getting something nice when we're going to be serving. But don't worry, at the end, we're going to open the pot and finish the coloring on top. So you have that nice kind of roast chicken effect. The chicken has been colored slightly, it's on the side here. I've turned off the heat on here, and all what you're gonna do here is to mix the onion, the celery, the carrots, and you're gonna make a bed. So the heat is off, that's just the remaining heat. You're gonna make a bed there for the chicken to lay on, and we're gonna put it back in the pot. And there we have it. You see what I said about the height of chicken? This is just borderline enough. It's good because the top of the lid is kind of have that shape like this, but it's not finished. Of course, Escoffier being Escoffier, during the cooking at regular intervals, we have to check on the chicken and bathe it in butter. And there's a reason for all that butter that we're going to talk about at the end. So plenty of butter. I'm going to put the lid on and that goes in the oven until it's cooked. So this is a 2 kilo, and I'm going to I think around 1.5 hours something. We'll check it along the way. Let's go. Now every now and then, maybe every 30 minutes or more, you have to make sure that the chicken in the pot doesn't dry too much. Okay, so we're putting some butter. See this clarified butter? This is the whole intention, is to baste the chicken with the juices here, to make it nice and moist, because otherwise it might get too dry. So constantly, every like 30 minutes, you open the pot, put the butter in. If you don't have enough, don't be scared. Put more butter in there because we're gonna use it afterwards anyway, so it's okay. Now, 10 minutes or 15 minutes before it's finished to cook, I like to take that little kitchen brush. I'm gonna baste this with plenty of butter, and we're gonna color the top of the chicken in the oven by removing the lid. So you put it back for 10 minutes without the lid, so it's gonna look a little bit like a roast chicken. So here we are, the chicken has now been colored. What's gonna happen next? I'm gonna take the chicken out of here, put it on a dish. I'm gonna open the cavity and claim back the morels we have inside, because we're gonna use them for the sauce, and then cover this with a foil, an alu foil on here, and leave this to rest for 20 minutes while we can make the rice and the sauce. The next thing you're gonna do is to take your pot where the chicken was cooking, and you're gonna transfer all of the butter into a bowl. So has Escoffier gone mad or what? Actually not, because when I first tried that recipe, I was like, I can't believe this. But if you look at that bowl, look closely. You see that rim? This is the pure butter. And that brown stuff that you've got here, which is plenty of it, this is pure chicken concentrate juices. And that is what you need for the sauce. It is full of flavor. The last one I did, actually just ate the whole butter with a piece of bread. It was terrible. So when the chicken is resting, you have enough time to make that special chicken rice I talk about. We're going to take a piece of butter here, it's about 40 to 50 grams, and melt it. As soon as the butter is melted, like this, you're gonna take all of the onions and put them in. I'm gonna cook them for good 5 minutes. Next, very easy, take all of your rice. Okay, you can put the heat down a little bit. And you're gonna mix it through the butter and the onion until it becomes nice and translucent. Perfect, you flatten a bit of the rice here, and now what you're gonna do is to add that white chicken stock in there. You can add a bay leaf, some thyme, and a bit of salt and pepper. As soon as the stock starts to simmer just a little bit, you're gonna make a paper, it's called a cartouche. You're gonna place this on top, and now put a lid on top, and we're gonna cook this in the oven, 190 degrees for about 17 minutes. As soon as the rice is in the oven, you can immediately start to make the sauce. We're gonna keep things very simple, don't worry. We're gonna use the same pot, sorry it's a bit, untidy and stuff like that. So I've got the heat on, and we're gonna start using that butter here that we have. So I'm gonna try to scoop the best part, the really fatty bits at the top, and we're gonna put the morels in the butter. So they were in the chicken, now they're in the butter. To wake up the flavors, so to speak. Now I think we're at the right temperature, and this is when you're gonna use some more champagne in there. Not too much, a little bit. And then high heat, and we're gonna use that liquid to capture all of the sides and kind of clean the pan and get all the juices in, that sort of thing. Now let me try that thing, like champagne and morels and chicken butter. I mean, oh man, that guy. No mais Escoffier, no mais all the time you make something and you think it works, huh? Bloody annoying. Like there's never a time where it doesn't work. Sometimes I'm waiting for that day. Now here, because of the butter and the morels in there, you don't need to reduce as much because the acidity has kind of been killed already. And from here it says that you can already then add the sauce base. And same thing, bring that to a boil and leave it to reduce for a good 5 minutes. So now you're supposed to add all the chicken juices back and leave this to reduce. So once the chicken juices are in, he says that the minimum amount of time they should spend, or the fat should spend in the sauce is 10 minutes. But what I'm gonna do, because I always believe that morels live by cream, I'm gonna do double fat here, chicken juices plus cream, bring this to the boil, another 5 minutes reduction. Or more, 5 minutes to start with. The sauce is reducing on the side and the rice is ready. So this is how it looks like. I'm gonna remove this one here. Okay. And we've got the rice, so with a fork, we're gonna kind of mix it around like that. So you got a nice kind of grain, it doesn't stick or anything like this. And you're gonna put the lid, back on and leave it to rest until you're ready to serve. Okay, so it's gonna steam, it's gonna continue cooking slightly. And I'm just gonna have a little bit. Oh yeah! Now that's much better than the normal water. Ooh, I like it. And here we are, I've reduced my sauce, I've put it in that nice copper pan to do it justice so that you can have a look on how it looks like, and it looks absolutely great. Good consistency, I'm gonna try it now. Now interestingly, you got that kind of, you see that butter chicken that we had, that chicken butter, something like this? It is in the background, I can feel the morels. It's yet creamy, but I think the butter takes more of a center stage, and definitely morel, but you need to bite in one of these morel to really get the full body. What I'm gonna add here is a little bit of parsley. And that's gonna be it. I'm just gonna add the freshness of the parsley to finish. The morels are great, they're gonna taste great, but it's gonna go alongside our chicken. The rice is ready, let's serve. This is it. We've just dressed up a little bit of a table here. I decided to put the rice around some morel because they're so beautiful when you bite them. And I didn't want to break the chicken down, like break it open or whatever. Just to show you how it can look like. It's a bit of an, yesteryear's old-fashioned kind of thing, but the chicken rice, honestly, right there, absolutely beautiful. And I think that dish is gonna shine really in all this flavor. The flesh of the chicken is gonna be tender, and that sauce, I mean, look at the Morel sauce. I've got some champagne left, and I should have renamed that video, you know, cooking with champagne, because actually the best thing about this is to open the champagne, use it, and have a little bit on it on the side to make it, you know, a bit more happy when you make the recipe. But that's it for this week. This is the main we've chosen for you. So you've got a chicken stuffed with Morel, champagne sauce. It is beautiful. It is Escoffier style, but don't forget that next week we're gonna go for a dessert that is gonna be also using champagne. So make sure to come back again next week to see what we've got in store for you. As for now, I'll leave you with that beautiful setting, and I'll see you all next week. Take care all, and Merry pre-Christmas. See you all. Bye-bye.